"Hey sis, how about you join us for some fun?" I was cornered by a group of guys while hanging out with my best friend. I tried to escape, but we ended up trapped in a dead end. The guys caught up and even said, "We're part of a gang. Don't even think about saying no," as they ominously approached. Honestly, it was a dire situation. Just then, a voice called out from behind, "Hey." Looking up, I saw a person shouting, "You guys better run away from that girl fast." They weren't telling us to run. They were telling the men harassing us to run away. Seeing the baffled look on the men's faces, I couldn't help but smirk. "My name is Madison. I'm a sophomore in college, majoring in education with the goal of becoming an elementary school teacher. Honestly, I'm not the best at studying, but there are 2 reasons I'm aiming to be a teacher. The first reason is that I don't want to take over the family business. My family runs a unique self-employed business, and I don't want to succeed the said business. The second reason is that the principal of my elementary school was an exceptional educator. When I was in elementary school, because of my family's business, I was often shunned, talked about behind my back, and teased by others. Each time, I felt hurt and cried. One day, an upper-class man mocked me, laughing. "You're from that family, right? Your family is not normal. You're not a normal kid." I was about to cry again. Sure, my family was not ordinary, but it wasn't my fault I was born into it. I wondered why I had to suffer just because of my parents. Then, I heard a man's voice, "Stop." Looking towards the voice, I saw the principal of the elementary school. "Did you just laugh at this child's family?" he asked. I vividly remember how the older students were a bit startled to see the principal suddenly appear. We can change our parents or our family situation with our own efforts. It's wrong to mock someone for something they can change through their efforts. If you were born in his family, you might have been treated the same way. Think about that. Okay. The upperclassman reluctantly nodded in agreement. "If you understand, that's good. Getting along with everyone is the best," said the principal. After saying that, he smiled kindly. The following week, the principal spoke about the same issue during the school assembly. Since then, the teasing about my family noticeably decreased. It was truly the effect of the principal's intervention. From that day, whenever the principal saw me around the school, he always spoke to me and even played with me during breaks. Inspired by such a principal, I strived to become a teacher like him. Despite struggling with studies, I worked hard and made it into college, moving closer to my dream. Since my college is a bit far from my hometown, not many people know about my family's background. Perhaps because of that, I've made a close friend in college and am enjoying every day. One day, after class, I was deeply engaged in conversation with my best friend, Emily, at our favorite coffee shop. Emily is undeniably cute, to the point where she's even working part-time as a magazine model. Her personality is as warm and gentle as her appearance. Emily and I met in the school cafeteria. I was eating lunch alone when she came up and asked, "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" "Oh, no, go ahead. No one else is coming," I replied. That was all for that day, but we met again in a mandatory class. Come to think of it, the seat next to me was empty then too. She approached and asked, "Excuse me, is this seat free?" When I looked up, it was Emily. "Oh, you were also in the cafeteria." "Ah, I thought so. Are you in the same department?" That's how our conversation started, and we quickly hit it off. Emily also came to this university from a high school where she had no friends, and she had been acting alone every day. I was in the exact same situation, so we hit it off right away. Almost everyone in Emily's family are teachers. That's why she's aiming to be a teacher too, but she said she used to be teased for being a teacher's daughter. Plus, I hated it when people said I must be smart because my parents are teachers. It's not like we can choose our parents, right? Absolutely. I agreed so much that I emphasized my response. We also found that we had similar tastes in food and many other things in common. For me, Emily has become someone I can call my best friend. And partly because she works as a model, she has a good appeal to guys, so almost every time we go out, she gets hit on. "Hey, ladies, you're cute. How about hitting the bar with us?" See, it happened again today. This time it's a duo of guys. They looked quite flashy, and I couldn't help but give them a skeptical look. "Sorry, I'm with my friend right now, so that's a bit difficult. Emily gently declined. But one of the guys, showing his phone, said, if not now, how about later? Give me your contact. Sorry, I don't give out my contact to strangers. But we can get to know each other now, right? And hey, you're really cute. Are you a model or something? Despite Emily's clear refusal, I don't understand why they keep pushing so persistently. I always wonder if they think being pushy is the way to go. You guys, read the room. We're clearly saying no, I said, prompting the flashy guys who had only been looking at Emily to turn towards me. We're having girl talk here. Can you see? Emily is clearly saying no. Isn't it obvious she's not interested? What? Shut up. You're not even cute. Such angry responses are common, so I'm used to it. Sure, I'm not as cute as Emily, but why be so pinpoint about it? Don't get it wrong. You're the one being told off here. If you keep this up, I'm calling the police. I showed them my phone with the emergency number 911 displayed, bringing it close to their faces. This kind of behavior is harassment, you know. The police would be interested in that. With a smirk, I watched as the guys clicked their tongues and walked away. Way to go, Madison. Emily applauded, and I responded with a smug look. That's just a typical day for us. A few days later, Emily and I were out shopping. What should we buy today? Madison, I think that cherry blossom colored lipstick I saw in the magazine would look great on you. Let's get that. Do you think I can pull off that kind of pink? I think it will suit you. While we were excitedly chatting and walking, a male voice called out, Hey ladies, you free right now? It was clearly directed at us. Another pickup attempt. Already today, we've been approached by guys and scouts about 3 times. But it's always Emily thereafter. I was wondering why they keep bothering us during our girl time when I heard, Hey, isn't that the cute girl from the other day, and her friend? Huh? Looking up, I saw the flashy guys from the coffee shop. The persistent ones. Wow, it's really them. Meeting here must be fate, right? We should totally hang out. Look at her, she's so cute. Isn't that girl the model, Emily? I've seen her in the magazine my sister buys. Today, the flashy guys had brought friends, making them a group of 4. Last time it was just 2 of them, but now they've doubled. They surrounded us, loudly chatting among themselves. All of them were annoyingly loud. Irritated to my limit, I blurted out to the guys in a cold voice. Hey, can you see? We're trying to have time together, just the 2 of us. Want me to call the cops again, like last time? As I said this and raised my phone, one of the guys tried to grab it, so I quickly pulled it back towards me and grabbed Emily's arm. Emily, let's go. I pulled her arm and started running to escape the situation. What, Madison? Don't let them get away. Chase them. When outnumbered, the best strategy is to run rather than confront, especially with Emily here. Moreover, our pursuers are a group of adult men, outnumbering us. In this case, escaping is the best victory. But I worried we might be caught soon. And true enough, they quickly caught up as we turned into an alley that was a dead end. Madison. Emily called my name anxiously and tightly gripped my hand. Emily, it's going to be okay. I smiled at her and squeezed her hand in reassurance. The sound of footsteps hastened, and a group of 4 flashy guys appeared before us. Trapped in a dead end with the men in front. We were in a dire situation. We finally caught up. Breathing heavily, all the guys were smirking at us. Just so you know, we're part of a gang, so don't even think about refusing us. I stepped in front of Emily, glaring at the men. Hey sis, how about you join us for some fun? It was at that moment, as the men took a step closer, that it happened. You guys better run away fast. A deep voice echoed through the space. Behind the flashy guys, there stood a man dressed sharply in a suit, wearing glasses. He looked like a white-collar worker. What? Who's this old guy? Don't get in our way. I'm talking to you guys. You'll regret it later. Us. Why? What's this guy on about? Why would we run away in this situation? Just so you know, we're members of the Rock Hill Gang. Nothing scares us around here. One of the flashy guys said, pushing the white-collar worker. The man fell to the ground. Anyway, we're not interested in a guy like you. We want these girls. Come on, let's go. Then one of them forcefully grabbed my arm. In that moment, I couldn't help but smirk. Hey, bros. Seems like you're having a blast. How about letting us join in? This time, a deeper, more menacing voice echoed through the alley. 6 men appeared, outnumbering the flashy guys. Their looks varied, some casual, others in suits, some wearing oversized mirrors and glasses, but all of them had an aura that clearly showed they weren't ordinary folks. The flashy guys were clearly overwhelmed by the aura of the new arrivals, which was evident even to me. "Oh, that's why I advised you guys to run away," said the white-collar worker as he got up, took off his glasses, and removed his suit jacket. The sudden turn of events had the flashy guys visibly flustered. "Hey, bro, your shirt is a bit torn there." "What? I just bought this new one recently." The white-collar worker took a step closer to the one who had pushed him and shouted, "Hey, you pushed me, so this is all your fault, right?" "Huh?" The flashy guy, confronted directly, began to grovel. "Eek. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Watching this, I thought to myself in amazement, wow, where did all their bravado go? While I was scoffing, a man with oversized mirrors and glasses, Smith, approached and said, "Sorry to keep you waiting, miss. Seriously, you guys took your time," I said, glaring at them. Everyone chuckled sheepishly. "Let's go, miss. This way. And your friend too. Please come this way." "Sure, thank you. Emily, let's go over here." Emily and I then followed the group of 6 men. "Hey, what were you trying to do to our boss's daughter and her best friend?" These people here, you guys are in no position to talk to them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. By the way, you guys were claiming to be part of our gang, but when did you join? And how come you don't know our boss's daughter's face?" "Huh? We apologize. We didn't recognize the boss's daughter. We're so sorry." "That's right. When you join our gang, you're usually introduced to the boss's daughter. Haven't you been shown her childhood photos and heard all the cute stories about her from the boss himself?" "Huh? We haven't heard that. We've never been told such things. We apologize." "Huh? Dad does that? That's news to me." I blurted out, but no one responded. "I'll have to ask my father about this later." Eventually, the group of 4 flashy guys was made to sit on the spot. We got their contact details and made them promise never to bother us again before letting them go. The moment they were freed, they scattered like spiders, which seemed like an apt description as they ran off. "Emily. Madison." I turned to Emily, who had witnessed everything, and immediately looked down, saying, "I'm sorry. Emily, I'm sorry I kept quiet about this. You probably realized it after what just happened, but I'm the only daughter of the Rock Hill Gang, a gang group leader." "Rock Hill Gang," Emily muttered. "It might not be a well-known name around here, but in my hometown, it's a gang group known by everyone." I looked back at the men behind us. These guys are members of the gang, sort of like my bodyguards. "Bodyguards?" Emily's eyes widened in shock at my words. Understandably, it's a term far removed from the life of an average person. "Yeah, being the daughter of a gang leader, I'm often targeted. There have been many instances where I was nearly kidnapped. That's why these bodyguards stay close but out of the way in my daily life." "I see. Madison, you're in a tough position." "Yeah, I always feared sharing this with others. No matter how close I get to someone, I fear they might think being with her might put me in danger and eventually drift away. I had a similar experience in the past, where a classmate I finally started talking to distanced themselves from me. Honestly, it wouldn't be surprising if Emily did the same, but I really hope she doesn't." "Oh, and the businessman who first shouted at those guys to run away and got pushed. He's also one of our gang members." "Yeah, that guy too." The white-collar Johnson lined up beside me. "Yes. Hello, Emily. I'm Johnson. I take care of the boss's daughter." Johnson expressed his gratitude to Emily. "Wow, you just look like an ordinary white-collar worker," said Emily, surprised. "Right. I always think the same," I added. "His unassuming appearance is an advantage, allowing him to disguise himself as a civilian while protecting me. His role as a caretaker was decided because he's the eldest of a rare family of 10 siblings and isn't much older than me. I've always admired Johnson like a brother. But why did you tell those guys to run away?" "Since we had plenty of bodyguards today, I had to give those guys a chance to escape." It's only fair. This way, I can say, hey, I did warn you to run. It's not like we didn't give them a chance. Johnson smirked. Well, that's a sinister smile. Emily. Johnson then called her name. We may be part of a gang, but we don't engage in criminal activities. And Madison, our boss's daughter, isn't involved in our business at all. Her father, the boss, makes sure she stays out of it. She's just an ordinary girl from a unique family. She might struggle with her studies, but that's all part of her being an ordinary girl. Yes, I may be biased as her caretaker, but Madison is truly a good person. We all can vouch for that. We'd be happy if you continue to be friends with her. Madison always seems so happy when she talks about you. Saying this, Johnson smiled at Emily. The other members all nodded in agreement. Me? Really? It's clear that having a friend like you makes her happy. I could tell that Johnson and the others were earnestly trying to back me up. I felt a wave of emotion, grateful for having such good people around me. Then, Emily smiled back. Madison, I'm also happy to have you as a friend. I know you're kind and a good person. I'd be glad to continue our friendship. Emily said this with her usual smile. I couldn't believe her words and inadvertently counted. But, I scared you, and being with the daughter of a gang boss might lead to more frightening situations. I said that, but Emily replied with a smile. It was scary, but it's not your fault, Madison. You've been protecting me and even helped me. That's what matters. But still, Madison, I became friends with you because you're kind and a great person. It doesn't matter which family you come from. That's why I wanted to be friends with you. So, let's continue to be good friends. Emily said this firmly while looking at me. I surrendered. Emily, thank you. I hugged her tightly, close to tears. Emily gently patted my back, and strangely, Johnson and the other members seemed even more moved than me, wiping away tears. So, those guys were associates of them. Yes, they were luring girls like you to take them somewhere and involve them in their crimes. The term associates is often used to describe individuals who have not yet been formally initiated into the gang but who may participate in some of its activities or have some level of association with its members. However, their solidarity isn't very strong. They often abandon their own members at the first sign of trouble. A few days after the incident, I was curious about what happened to those flashy guys and asked, "We've got all their contacts, and we plan to call them in soon." One of my bodyguards, Wilson, announced. Johnson, but what I can stand is that they were claiming to be part of our gang, exclaimed Wilson. My father calmly advised, Wilson, calm down now. Well, we can forgive them a little. As elders, it's our duty to correcting people when they stray from the right path. My father, the boss, smirked mischievously. Well, that's a menacing smile. Right, Johnson? Yeah. Maybe we, being a bit older, should teach them a lesson. Johnson, too, had a mischievous look on his face. It felt like all the men in the room were wearing that same cunning expression. I hoped those flashy guys managed to survive unscathed. I couldn't help but wish somewhat. A few days later, when my father called me to his room, Johnson was there too. My father immediately said, "Those associates have split up." Split up? How? Well, I don't know all the details. Johnson here managed it. Just a little bit of information leaked, and they self-destructed. How did you do it, Johnson? That, I can't say. Johnson smiled slyly. Come on. Well, basically, they got into some internal fighting, sort of a duel, and just then the police happened to be there and arrested them. Wonder who tipped them off, Johnson said, feigning ignorance. In that moment, I realized that Johnson, despite being my caretaker, was a full-fledged member of the gang. If they get involved with us, it's only right we help them straighten out. If they hadn't messed with us, it wouldn't have come to this. It's a lesson not to underestimate their elders. My father said. He looked cool and dependable. He really does become the boss in moments like this. Just then, hey, Dad, you left the bathroom light on again. And close the lid. I've told you so many times. My mother's voice thundered. Oops, gotta go. My father immediately stood up and rushed out of the room. Sorry, Linda. I'll do it right away. I keep telling you to do it before I have to say anything. How many times do I have to remind you? Their conversation was clearly audible inside the room. In our house, my mother is the strongest force. So, those guys got caught by the police, huh? Yeah, I think it's all good now. The next day at college, I met Emily and vaguely told her about the fate of the flashy guys. Apparently, they got arrested by the police. It really comes back to bite you if you do something bad, huh? Emily said, her usual gentle self. I was worried that the incident might have traumatized her, but it seemed she was okay, which was a relief. By the way, Madison, do you want to come over to my place sometime? At your house? Yeah, I mentioned to my family about what happened, and they said, if she protected you, we definitely owe her our thanks. My house is pretty excited about it. Excited, huh? They insisted I bring you along, so I'd love for you to come. My family's a bit noisy, with my parents, maternal grandfather, older sister, and younger sister. It can't be noisier than my place. Well, if you're inviting me like that, I guess I'll go. Deciding to accept her kind offer, we planned for me to visit Emily's house a few days later. I'll even prepare food for your bodyguards, Emily said. They'll be fine. No need, I replied, laughing. Hey, Madison, by the way, how's Johnson doing? Johnson. He's fine. But why do you ask? Emily began to fidget and said in a low voice, actually, I kind of have a crush on Johnson. I was wondering if you could help me get to know him. I blurted out in surprise, what? And from there, we ended up discussing Emily's newfound love interest. Today, I was invited to Emily's house. I was surprised by the person I saw there. Madison, this is my grandfather, Mr. Thompson. Oh, you know my grandpa. Of course. The reason I want to be an elementary school teacher is because of Mr. Thompson. There in front of me was the principal of the elementary school I attended. He was the one who stood up for me when older students were making fun of me, saying, you shouldn't criticize someone for things they can change, like their family or background. He was the person I respected most in the world. As I excitedly told Emily, she said, really? Grandpa raised me with the same teachings. You and I. No wonder we get along so well, she said with a laugh, and I laughed along. Then Mr. Thompson said, you must be Madison, right? Of course, I remember you. Really? You remember me? Absolutely. I always remember my students well, especially someone who worked as hard as you did to come to school every day. I was moved that he remembered me and had noticed my efforts in school. I was so touched that I nearly cried right there. Mr. Thompson, thank you so much for everything back then. Because of what happened, I wanted to be a teacher like you and have been pursuing that dream ever since. Really? That's wonderful to hear. I've also heard you protected my granddaughter Emily from those bad guys. Someone with your kind heart will surely become a great teacher. His words brought me to tears, and I couldn't hold them back. Emily and her family hugged me, saying, don't cry now. I was more determined than ever to fulfill my dream of becoming an elementary school teacher. There are so many things in life we can change, like our family and where we come from, but I've always tried not to let that hold me back. Knowing that there are people who appreciate and acknowledge my efforts makes a world of difference in life. For me, those people were Mr. Thompson and Emily. Without them, I might not have been able to lead a normal life. Encouraged by Mr. Thompson's belief in me, I made a firm commitment to continue my efforts. I held on to the hope that one day, as a teacher, I would pass on the lessons Mr. Thompson taught me to the children I will meet.